This is the book of Micah chapter 2 and verse 1. And it reads, it says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand." Verse 2, "And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage."
I like to validate people. Anybody who was like, "Oh, we're prisoners of war. We're prisoners of war." I would like to provide you with that proof. This is the preliminary statement for the Emancipation Proclamation. A preliminary document is what's released before the Emancipation Proclamation of 1862. And let's read section 9, how we were taken as prisoners of war. And section 9 states, "All slaves of such persons found or being within any place occupied by rebel forces and afterwards occupied by the forces of the United States shall be deemed captives of war and shall be forever free of their servitude and not yet again held as slaves." How you deem somebody a captive of war, but in enslavement? So the rebel forces are the Indians who sided with the Confederacy, like the Creek Indians. And so I'll tell you how they took us as prisoners of war. They claimed we had African descent. They moved us off our homeland to Indian Territory, Oklahoma. And then with the terroristic white supremacy burning down of Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is located on Indian Territory, Oklahoma. I know they call it Black Wall Street, but it's located on Indian Territory, Oklahoma. My family was then pushed off of our Indian Territory with the Tulsa Massacre, and we were added to the United States Census as black. That's how you take a prisoner of war. You change their identity to black and make them a citizen of your United States.
Prophecy. All right, Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. The true biblical Israelites, the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, and Hispanic, are the prisoners of war, the slaves. This is the book of Nahum chapter 3 and verse 1. It says, "Woe to the bloody city." Okay, America, which is spiritually Nineveh, is that bloody city. And how was America established? Off the rape, robbery, and murder of the tribes. Okay, this is how this land was established. Okay, through the genocide and enslavement of the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, and Hispanic. Nahum 3 and 1, "Woe to the bloody city, it is full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not." Okay, and who's the prey? The Israelites, the captives. Unto this very day, we're still in slavery right here in America, right? Jeremiah 50 and 33 says, "Thus said the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together." Right? The children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. Prophecy. And all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. This is why we're still in captivity unto this very day. We are those prisoners of war, right? Yeah, so I had got this movie clip from 12 Years a Slave, and it showed you Gad and Judah in captivity together. All right? Showing you this prophecy being fulfilled. This is Isaiah 51 in verse 12. It says, I, even I, am he that comforteth you. Who art thou that thou shouldest be afraid of a man that shall die, and the Son of Man which should be made as grass? And forgettest the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua thy Maker, that have stretched forth the heavens, and laid the foundations of the earth, and has feared continually every day because of the fury of the oppressor, as if he were ready to destroy. And where is the fury of the oppressor? Verse 14. The captive exile hasteneth that he may be loose. All right, we will represent the captive. Okay, the prisoners of war, the slaves. The captive exile hasten that he may be loosed, and that he should not die in the pit. All right, America is that pit. Okay, the prison house. Okay, and that he should not die in the pit, nor that his bread shall fail. All right, so I was just pulling this up on the chat. Isaiah 51 and 14. Right, it's pretty heavy. Isaiah 51 and 14, it says, the Hebrew sends the phrase, the captive exile hasteneth. The idea, one who bends under a load, a bold, stooped, burdened prisoner, someone eager to be released. See? And what are we waiting on? We're waiting on Yahweh Hashem Yahushua to deliver us from captivity. Rushing toward freedom because deliverance has already been decreed, right? It does not mean a foreign convert. It means an Israelite in bondage whose release is guaranteed by Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, and that's prophecy. Okay? We are the captives, that we are the captive exile that hasten to be loosed, to be freed, right? Immediate context, Isaiah 51. Isaiah 51 is Yahweh's speech to Abraham's seed, Zion, Jerusalem, right? That people have been forced to drink the cup of trembling, Isaiah 51 and 17. Exactly. We've drank the cup of hardcore bondage, slavery, oppression. Okay? It says, a nation suffering under oppressors. The entire chapter is about Israel in captivity and their assured redemption. See? Let's see if there's any more here. Verse meaning the captive exile hastened that he may be loosed. The Israelite captives, exiles are depicted as hastening toward their deliverance, because Yahweh Hashem Yahushua has already decreed their release in Isaiah 51, 4 through 6 and 11. This isn't the captives freeing themselves. It is saying the promise of redemption is already set in motion. Man. So they rush towards it because Yahweh Hashem Yahushua has spoken, and that he should not die in the pit. Pit equal prison, dungeon, cistern. Like Jeremiah 38 and 6. In exile, the pit is imagery for foreign domination. Check that out. Oppressive captivity, bondage with no hope. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua tells Israel, you won't die in captivity. Your release is certain. Whew, man. Nor his bread shall fail. Bread failing equals starvation, deprivation under foreign oppression. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua promises you will not starve. You will not be cut off. Your survival is guaranteed unto deliverance. This matches other texts where Yahweh Hashem Yahushua keeps Israel alive in exile to fulfill the covenant. Jeremiah 30, 10 through 11. And Exodus 20, 33 through 34. Bigger thing, Isaiah 51 and 14 is part of a larger prophetic pattern. Israel in captivity, preserved, redeemed, restored. All right, and the scriptures that tie along with it. The point, it says Israel's captivity is temporary. Their deliverance is guaranteed. Oppressors fall. Man, right? This is Isaiah 61 and verse 1. All right, exaltation of the afflicted. Isaiah 61 and 1, it says, the Spirit of the Lord, power, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, is upon me, because the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, have anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He have set me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives. Okay, so this message that's going out, This word is proclaiming liberty, freedom to the captives. Again, who are the captives? The tribes. All right, the Israelites, the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and Hispanics, and wherever the seed of Jacob is spread across the world. Okay, we are the captives. It says, Isaiah 61 and 1 again, the Spirit of the Lord, power, Yahweh Shemel Shai, is upon me, because the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, have anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He have sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and to the opening of the prison to them that are bound. See that? So the message is what? That we're about to be soon released from our captivity, from slavery, man. The Lord is coming to deliver us. Okay? That's part of the message, right? Verse 2, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, in the day of vengeance of our power. All right? Because the Lord is coming to avenge his people. To comfort all that mourn. See that? So this word is the comfort, man. It's the hope. All right, that we have a solution to our problems, that the Lord is coming to deliver us out of captivity, out of prison, man. Again, that's the comfort. Isaiah 40 and 1 and 2? All right, because I'm just adding on to this video that I saw earlier, right? That she was going into, us being the prisoners of war. She was talking about the Gadites, right? This chick named Miss Nebraska. All right, but she doesn't know that we are the biblical Israelites. So what she was saying was all prophecy. Okay, straight out the scriptures, right? Let's go back. Isaiah 40. All right, the comfort. Isaiah 40 and 1. Comfort ye, my people, saith your power, Yahweh Shemel Shai. Speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem, and cry unto her that her warfare is accomplished, that her iniquity is pardoned, for she have received of the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai's hand, double for all her sins. So the part of the message that's being declared to our people, we're in a time now where our warfare is accomplished, meaning our captivity. Okay, the Lord is going to redeem us from this captivity. He's going to redeem us from these curses when he returns. This is the time. Her iniquity is pardoned, for she have received the Lord's hand double for all her sins. So the Lord, he brought us through hell and back, right? But at the end, those that are found faithful, the hopeful elect, okay, we're going to be delivered from this from this nightmare, man. Soon to come. Right? Our salvation is nearer than we believe. Okay? Isaiah 42 and verse 22, it says, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. What people? The Israelites. Okay? But this is a people robbed, right? This is a people robbed and spoiled. Okay? The curses, the hail, the genocide, the slavery, okay, the theft of lands, okay? Surely this is a people robbed and spoiled, right? Isaiah 42 and 22, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses, right? So again, the prison houses represent the literal prison house, Babylon the Great, America, all right, the place of our captivity, how, the majority of the prison population consists of the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, and Hispanics, okay? And then on the twofold aspect of it, these different, philosophies, these different doctrines that have our people mentally captive, okay? Such as Christianity, okay, Islam, black consciousness, okay, these wayward doctrines, man. They have our people spiritually captive. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes. They are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth. You see that? They are for a prey, and none delivers. There's nobody fighting for your cause, your plight. Okay? The only solution is Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Right? They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith restore. See that? So no matter what Jake tries to do, okay, his efforts are not going to deliver him, from captivity. The only way out is Yahweh Shem Yahushai, period. No voting, no marching, no signing a petition to the Supreme Court. None of that bullshit, right? No reparations. Isaiah 52. Thinking about that, Isaiah 52 in verse. I'll read to the point. Isaiah 52 and 1, it says, "Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion, put on thy beautiful garments." The beautiful garments represent the truth, this knowledge, this word. "O Jerusalem, the holy city, for henceforth there should no more come into thee the uncircumcised and the unclean." Verse 2, "Shake thyself from the dust to confusion. Arise and sit down, O Jerusalem. Loose thyself from the bands of thy neck, O captive daughter of Zion." See that? And those bands that have our people by the neck, again, is going into those false doctrines, those worldly philosophies that have our people spiritually bound. Right? O captive daughter of Zion. We are the captives. Verse 3, the point. "For thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, you have sold yourselves for naught, and ye shall be redeemed without money." All right, so that shows you there ain't gonna be no reparations. There's not gonna be no payout. Okay, the only redemption is gonna come through the Lord. Okay, He's our way out of captivity. Okay, back in Isaiah 42 and 23, "Who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? Who gave Jacob for a spoil, and Israel to the robbers?" All right, going into what the other nations. Okay, who gave us away into captivity? "Did not the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai, He against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in His ways, neither were they obedient unto His law." So this is why we went into captivity amongst all the nations. Okay, this is why we were stripped from our heritage. We were called by another name. Okay, we were essentially, not a people, right? This is Baruch chapter 4 and verse 6. It says, "Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because you moved Yahweh Shem Yahushai to wrath. Ye were delivered unto the enemies." You see that? So that goes into the curses. All right. We broke the first covenant. We moved the Lord to wrath, and we were delivered unto the enemies, man. Okay. Esau, the nations, read Psalms 83, Psalms chapter 2. Okay. The Lord put us into captivity for our disobedience. Right. Which again is prophecy. "You were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because you moved the Most High to wrath, you were delivered unto the enemies. For ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to the Most High. You have forgotten the everlasting power that brought you up, and you have grieved Jerusalem that nursed you. For when she saw the wrath of the Most High coming upon you, she said, Hearken, O ye that dwell about Zion, Yahweh Shem Yahushai had brought upon me great mourning. For I saw the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting brought upon them." So again, just adding on to what we just read in Isaiah 42, this was all the working of the Lord. All right. For I saw the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting brought upon them. This is all the doing of the Lord. This is why we went into captivity, man. All right. Again, the prisoners of war. Isaiah 42 and 24 again, "Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Did not the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai, He against whom he against whom we have sinned, for they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. See? Therefore he had poured upon him the fury of his anger and the strength of the battle, and have set him on fire round about, yet he knew not, and it burned him, yet he laid it not to heart. Yeah, going into the curses, man, that are written throughout the text. Okay? That's part of that fire, that the anger that the Lord put upon us, man. Us going down into captivity, us losing our heritage, our nationality, being called by another name. Okay, again, your life, not being acknowledged in this captivity. All right, but it's all ties into us again being those prisoners of war she was talking about, man. Right? Lamentations 1, the sorrows of Zion. Matter of fact, let me read this in the NLT. All right. Lamentations 1 and 1 in the NLT, it says, Jerusalem, once so full of people, is now deserted. She who was once great among the nations now sits alone like a widow. Once the queen of all the earth, she is now a slave, captive. She sobs through the night, tears stream down her cheeks. Among all her lovers, there is none left to comfort her. All her friends have betrayed her and become her enemies. See? Judah has been led away into captivity, oppressed with cruel slavery. She lives among foreign nations and has no place of rest. Her enemies have chased her down. She has nowhere to turn. Right, and I want to add on to that too, because the Lord said in the curses, no matter where we would be in the world, we wouldn't have any type of rest, any type of comfort. Deuteronomy 28 and I think it's 64. Right? Yeah, so this is Deuteronomy 28 and verse 65. I start at 64. And it reads, it says, "And the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, shall scatter thee among all people." All right? The seed of Jacob was scattered amongst the world, all nations. For one end of the earth, even unto the other, and there shalt thou serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations thou shalt find, and among these nations shalt thou find no ease, right? No ease, no comfort. Neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. See? But the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, shall give thee there a trembling of heart, and a failing of eyes, and a sorrow of mind. All right? That's the curses, man. Okay? No matter where we would be in the world, we would have that trembling of heart. Your life's not guaranteed. Okay? Your life is not acknowledged. You would be oppressed. It says, verse 66, "And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life." You see that? So this is what Jake is experiencing no matter where he's at in the world. Going back to the curses, especially here in Babylon, man. Okay? So we're most definitely the captives. All right? Those prisoners of war. Again, finishing this out. Lamentations 1 and 3 NLT. Judah has been led away into captivity, oppressed with cruel slavery. She lives among foreign nations and has no place of rest. Her enemies have chased her down, and she has nowhere to turn. The roads to Jerusalem are in mourning, for crowds no longer come to celebrate the festivals. The city gates are silent, her priests groan, her young women are crying. How bitter is her fate! Her oppressors have become her masters. Her enemies prosper, for the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai has punished Jerusalem for her many sins. Her children have been captured and taken away to distant lands, prisoners of war, man, which is found all throughout the scriptures, man. So, like I said, I just wanted to add on to that video, man. She was on point. All right. To this very day, we're still in captivity. We're still in slavery. Shalom.